Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Chiranjit Mishra and today I'm going to present the news today items for the day June 18th. There are 4 main news, 8 quick updates and 1 place in the news which is Netherlands. Okay, Netherlands or Holland, which was previously called Holland. So let's quickly go through the headlines first. The first news item is about India-UK Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement. Okay, there was a mild glitch over disagreement between India and the UK related to steel export, but it has been solved. The next is a very innovative framework developed by National Payment Corporation of India called Drunix. The third news is about State Finances Report 2024-25. So the expenditures and the incomes of the various state governments, whether or not they're maintaining fiscal discipline. We'll take a look at the report. The last main news is about India's defense transformation in the last 12 years. Okay, because the present government has completed 12 years back to back after winning in the 3 elections. So we'll use 2014 as the benchmark year and how far India has made progress. Quick updates: green hydrogen certification portal launched. Next is ground level ozone threatens public health. Third is She Box 2.0, which is related to safety of women at workplace. Next, additional Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban 2.0. So many houses have been approved. Okay, already a great amount of progress has been made. Next is India records strong QS rankings. Many important Indian universities, the Indian Institute of Technologies, have featured among the top 500 universities, global universities. Next, India chairs key Indian Ocean Rim Association meeting. The 28th meeting was chaired by India. Okay, and this particular global body aims at maintaining security and safety in the Indian Ocean region. Next, bitumen, a petroleum derived product used in making roads, its supply has been disrupted due to the Middle East crisis. The last quick update is about Himalayan air quality, which has undergone a decline. Okay, and the place in the news today is Netherlands. So let's start with the first main news: India-UK Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement. Okay, now there are so many FTAs that have been signed. This is also much more than an FTA. FTA is just about trade agreement. This is much more comprehensive. Okay, so it's a very good positive achievement or attainment in the direction of India's enhancement of global image and India's growing share in global trade. Okay, now India and UK had already agreed to proceed in 2025. So what happened? Why it is in the news again? But in early 2026, I think January or February around, the UK, which had earlier promised for free entry of steel exports from India, it started to come up with certain restrictions on the steel exports coming from India. It said there has to be certain quota. Beyond that quota, there will be penalty on the UK importers. Okay, businessmen in the UK are going to import steel from India. So whoever imports steel quantity more than some quota already restricted, they will be penalized at 50% tariff. Okay, that is why India was unhappy. Now they have reached an agreement. Okay, so majority of the Indian steel can easily reach the UK market. Okay, so it's a good development, and let's quickly go through. So that marks the finalization of the trade agreement, which will come into force in the next month, July 15th. So let's take a look at the background. India-UK Roadmap 2030 launched in 2021. Bilateral ties elevated strategically. Target is $100 billion. Okay, $100 billion target. And CETA officially signed in 2025, as I mentioned in the beginning. Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement. But that one issue was related to Indian steel. And that was close to $900 million. Okay, itna steel amount would have been affected had UK not removed the quota. Now the quota is gone. Indian exporters are at a temporary gain, you can say. Duty-free access on 99% tariff lines. So a very good piece of news for Indian exporters. And as you know, MSMEs in India account for 40 to 45% of exports. Small to medium companies, So it's a piece of very good news for these companies. Enhances competitiveness of Indian exports. That means, of course, if Indian goods are available at a reasonable price, importers will definitely seek Indian goods. Competitiveness of the prices of the Indian goods. Covers major service sectors. India has been world famous for its services. Okay. Ends dual social security contribution. Now see, this is a comprehensive economic and trade agreement. It's not just about exchange of goods and services. Not just goods and services, but also movement of professionals from one country to the other. Now suppose you are going to work in the UK, but you are working for an Indian company. For a temporary period, you are going to work in the UK. You are going to provide like on-site program. And while working there, you are not going to pay the social security amount that is expected from an employee, because here in India you are paying, again you will not pay there. That is why this agreement was signed. Dual security, social security contributions, because in all the social security contributions, to get the benefits you have to pay a small amount, and that amount is deducted from your salary. Now it will happen in only one of the two countries, not in both the countries. Otherwise the employees will get very less salary if there is heavy deduction. Benefits farmers and fisher folk, again for goods export, and supports MSMEs, as I said. And it strengthens India's geo-economic influence, of course. Now India's share in global trade is going to rise. So that's all. Target is $100 billion. Please remember the mark. And the steel import has not been mentioned because this piece of news is about the enforcement of this trade agreement. But the bottleneck was related to steel. We have covered it. Next, Drunix by the NPCI. So Drunix it's a framework, blockchain, as you can see, developed by NPCI. NPCI, which manages UPI, okay, Aadhaar enabled payment system. These are all managed by NPCI. Okay. Now it's a very good model or framework based on blockchain, developed by NPCI. And the best part is it is open source. Its code can be used by any company. So this framework is going to be used by companies which are going to deal with physical assets. It can be anything: books, paper or document transfer, sale deeds, or any piece of work, say art. But how this blockchain network is going to be used to sell all these items? Here comes the concept of tokenization. Tokenization means here blockchain and tokenization. These two are the backbone of this. Collectively they form the backbone of Drunix. Now suppose I want to deal with selling and exchange of items between different customers. Now of course in a digital system you cannot put physical assets. So physical assets ke naam pe there will be token. Just like you buy and sell stocks in different brokerage platforms. There you're not carrying the documents, everything is in demat form. Okay, so here similarly a paper or a particular chip will be given to a particular item. It can be any piece of art or books. You're not going to physically put books in your system. One particular token will be used for reference for that book, and the token will keep circulating. Whoever buys and sells, everything will be recorded, because this is a blockchain technology, based on blockchain technology. That means every single piece of transaction will be in everyone's site who forms a part of the network. It's just like a Google Sheet if you have used it, but the problem is that no rows and columns can be deleted, and every single transaction will be recorded because it is decentralized. That is for safety. So this Drunix network is going to be used by such companies, developed by NPCI, and NPCI said it is open source. The source code, it can be used freely by any company. Okay. So let's take a brief look. NPCI rolled out Drunix to support blockchain and tokenization ecosystems. Ecosystems means, see, UPSC has always focused on digital ecosystems. That means there is no physical market. Everything will be online and distributed and transparent. All the transactions, and it's very easy to sell big items also. Why? Because everything is going to be tokenized. Physical presence of items is not required, because every item, physical asset, will have an ID and other details mentioned in the digital token, and that token can change hands, and this forms the blockchain network. Built by re-engineering Hyperledger fabric. This is the previous, you can say, the mother source, which has been tweaked by NPCI to create Drunix. Enables transparent information sharing networks because it's based on distributed ledger system called blockchain. Stores data in linked blocks. Every block will record transaction details. About tokenization, converts assets into digital tokens. UPSC has asked about non-fungible tokens also. Secures ownership records on blockchain. Covers real estate and commodities. It can be anything. But in India, it is not widely used. We are trying to popularize it. Significance of Drunix: enables horizontal scaling capabilities. Supports high parallel transaction processing. That means at the same time, many transactions can be processed. Why? They have a stable database also. Everything will be recorded in this database based in SQL. SQL is a database query language. Okay, provides SQL database system, which is a very stable and solid system. Many rows and columns of data can be easily stored without crashing. There will not be any crashing. कभी-कभी होता है ना, crash कर जाता है if you are using Google Sheet or say Microsoft Excel sheet. Here, SQL databases can store data in crores of columns and rows. These are called tables. You know, this is how we store data in rows and columns. Accelerates blockchain ecosystem readiness. So I hope you understood. If your question is asked in the mains exam also, what government has done to popularize digital ecosystem, you can cite this as an example. Apart from UPI, Aadhaar enabled payment system, okay, these things. About NPCI, operates retail payment systems nationwide, founded by the RBI and the Indian Banks Association, established under PSS Act 2007. Okay, so not for profit company under Companies Act, and it manages UPI, Aadhaar enabled payment system, and also IMPS. These are all digital economy tools which can be used for cash transfer or money transfer, not cash transfer, money transfer. Let's take a look at a question asked in 2022 related to non-fungible tokens. Consider the following statements. They enable the digital representation of physical assets. Correct. They are unique cryptographic tokens that exist on a blockchain. Again, correct. They can be traded or exchanged at equivalency. Very important, you have to understand this. And therefore can be used as a medium of commercial transactions. Now how can, suppose they're saying at equivalency, मतलब one के बदले दूसरा, एक token से, token A, say let's say token A represents, let's say, big house of 2 crore, and token B represents a small book. Let's say somebody has a book and here wants to put it in the blockchain system so that it can be sold, or other copies can also be sold of that particular book. Let's say it's token B, its price is 200 rupees. Now this token, can it be exchanged with token B? Look at the amount that this token encodes, 200 rupees or 2 crore. Not at equivalency, this is wrong. 1 and 2 are correct. So answer is A. Okay, statement 3 is not correct. Next question, state finances, next main topic, state finances 2024-25 report. So we'll take a look at the health of the state. We are not going to focus on any particular state. Overall report, how states have fared when it comes to manage their finances. How much they have borrowed, how much they owe, and what is the nature of their expenditure. So let's take a look at, as you know, normally we divide expenses and income under two heads, okay, with the center or the state. Income is your revenue income or capital. We also call it receipts. Revenue receipts and capital receipts. Revenue receipts, as you know, from PSUs, from other services that the government provide, whatever it earns, that is revenue. Or somebody, if the state has given some loan to somebody, interest is also revenue income. Capital revenue, if it sells stake or if it borrows money, everything will be called capital. And you'll be surprised to know that most of the income is capital. The states in India, they borrow a lot, and that is a big headache. This is income. Let's take a look at expenditure. Again, revenue and capital. Revenue expenditure is of regular nature, salary, pension and all that. Capital expenditure means those chunks of money that you use to build capital, like hospitals, roads, other types of infra. Okay, so this is understood. Now let's take a look. And I hope you know the difference between debt and deficit. Deficit is actually a flow variable. Deficit. When deficit accumulates, keep accumulating, it becomes debt, which is actually a stock variable. We normally calculate it over a period of year. इतने period में कितना deficit हुआ. Debt at any point of time, अभी debt कितना है, उधार कितना है. Okay. So covers fiscal performance of 28 states. As you know, India has 28 states and 8 union territories. But states, UTs are managed by the center directly. Analyzes trends across 10-year period. Okay, that means 2014-15 say 24-25. Public debt reaches 75.52 lakh crore. So in terms of $1 billion, it is close to, if say 9 kar dunga, $1 is equal to 90 rupees. That way it will be close to 5, some 680 billion dollar. That is the total public debt. Public debt in this context means the debt of all the 28 states. Okay. If we just focus on central government's liability or central government's debt, that is calculated separately. And when we add central government's debt, CD, central government's debt plus what is public debt here or the state government's debt, it becomes the general government debt. So general government debt is a big figure. Don't get confused. You need to know with a lot of clarity. Central government's liability, when clubbed together with state government's liability, they together form general government debt. There is a question for you also asked in Abhyas, very interesting question, and I'd like you to answer it. Expenditure, revenue expenditure forms 83.41 share. Whatever states collectively spend, you can look at this, close to 84% that goes into paying pension, salary, other useless expenditure. I mean, not useless, but those regular or routine expenditure. Only 16 to 17% of the total amount is spent on infrastructure. As you know, capital expenditure has one additional benefit. It is called multiplier effect. Okay, the multiplier effect here means एक पैसा लगा वो घूम घूम के 10 रुपए हो जाएगा. When you make roads, companies will start to invest, and when companies start to invest, they will grow and they'll give employment. People will earn money. That is the power of capital expenditure. And look at the figures. Only 17% is spent to construct roads and other types of infrastructure, say electricity grids, okay, or electricity lines. The remaining major chunk is gone, or it's meant for routine expenses. Subsidies, 8 to 10% of the expenditure share to farmers. Tax devolution, states' tax share steadily increased as per the Finance Commission's advice and suggestion. And whatever state government receives, 32% of it is from the central government's devolution. Don't get confused between the 42% of the divisible tax pool. That is for the central government. central government, if it collects 100 rupees, okay, and that forms a part of the divisible pool, वो 100 से 42 will be for all the states, and this 32% is from the point of view of the states. If they receive 200 rupees, then 200 का 32 कितना, 64 rupees is from the money that they get from the center. Okay, this 32% is from the state's perspective, that is from the center's perspective. They can be totally different because center has a lot of money. State governments have limited resources. They cannot even borrow without consulting the central government. From abroad also it's totally restricted. Okay, so state governments mainly resort to open market. It's called state development loans. 80% of the state's borrowing comes from state development loans. Prudent debt management urgently required. Because look at the debt level, $680 billion. Stronger fiscal discipline needed. Okay, so if a question is asked about the health of the economy of the states, you can cite the facts mentioned. This is very important, and this is the benchmark, but we have fairly crossed the benchmark. Benchmark is 3% of GSDP, gross state domestic product, but the collective debt of all the states, it's close to 76 lakh crore. This question was asked in Abhyas. It's a very interesting question. Consider the following graph, which shows a fiscal measure X, which varies as a percentage of India's GDP. And this value is 55.57. What is this? General government debt, debt of the central government, external debt, or total tax revenue? You can pause the video for a while and think, and then I will answer. Okay? You can pause the video. The correct answer is, if you just need to know the figures here, total tax revenue is close to 11 to 12% of the GDP. This is 55.7. That means this is gone. India's tax to GDP ratio is very low as compared to OECD countries. External debt is also close to 3 to 4%. That means whatever the country owes to the companies or financial institutions situated abroad, 3 to 4%, or maybe 5%. Debt outstanding liabilities of the central government. This is the correct answer. The general government debt is close to 55.7 plus around 20 to 24. It's close to 80% always. Okay, so all you can say, there is a lot of distance between the different figures. I hope you had answered the question correctly. Last main news, India's defense transformation. Okay, GS paper 3 के point of view is very important. Again, the benchmark here is 2014. तब से अब तक हमने क्या क्या किया है? As you know, the government has been strongly pursuing. It has actually achieved a lot in the field of defense. Okay, now India is in a mode to reduce import. Earlier we used to import a lot. We're actually at number 2 now, the second largest importer of defense equipments. Number 1, Ukraine, because of the war. Before that, India was the largest importer. Can you imagine? We have such a long border and such a populated, the largest country in terms of population, and to keep the citizens of this country safe, we had to resort to borrowing or buying equipments from abroad. Now this government has actually done a lot in terms of strengthening the country's defense infrastructure. First is indigenization, आत्मनिर्भरता. कोई भी क्वेश्चन आए डिफेंस के बारे में, this has to be there. Okay, especially after defense acquisition policy 2020 and 25. इसके बाद से we have been focusing on indigenization. We want to collaborate with other countries, but the condition is that join us, let's collaborate and use indigenous content and raw material to produce, defense equipments. We can use your technology, but it needs to be used in the Indian context. There are many important facts that you can simply memorize. At present, India is the second largest defense importer. Ukraine is at number 1 because of the war. Many countries are helping Ukraine. Okay, an overview of India's defense sector in the last 12 years में क्या-क्या हुआ? Defense budget rose to 7.5 lakh crore. So if I measure it in terms of dollar, it will be close to $70 billion. But as per CIPRI, India's expenditure is close to $90 billion. So in the exam you can mention this figure because this is as per PIB. You can say it's close to $75 billion. And India is at number 5 when it comes to how much a country spends on its military. This is not related to how much India imports, how much India spends money. How much money does India spend? Okay. As per the Defense Policy Manual 2025, indigenous content has been increased. This is the most important. FDI limit also, automatic route में 74% and approval में 100%. That means it's open to private sector and foreign players. Come here, give us technology, use your technical expertise, and let's strengthen this country. Defense production reached 1.78 lakh crore. Okay, these figures you can easily memorize. For example, critically examine the indigenization level of Indian defense industry. You can just cite the facts. Private sector contribution 24% of the production share. That means 3/4 is produced by the state and 1/4 by the private player, which is further going to rise because many MSMEs are now engaged in manufacturing defense items. All the important drones, UAVs, these are manufactured mostly by MSMEs, small companies. Okay. Exports expanded to 80 plus countries. India is not just focusing upon reducing import, it is also trying to increase exports. For example, Armenia, Vietnam, Philippines, we are also selling them many defense equipments. INS Vikrant, India indigenously manufactured an aircraft carrier for the Navy. Arigat and Vakshir, the submarines. Okay, so these are the various achievements. There are many more names. For example, Tejas aircraft. Okay, this light combat aircraft. Can mention Rudram, the anti-radiation missile. Many names are there. There is no dearth of the many names related to India's defense industry or achievements. Now the place in the news which is Netherlands. And Netherlands, as you can see, it's a country situated in northern Europe, you can say almost. Northwestern Europe. Sorry, northeastern Europe. Thoda sa if this is west, this is Netherlands. And to its north lies the North Sea. And the language spoken is Dutch. The people are also called Dutch. To its southwest lies Belgium and east lies Germany. There are no other countries. Denmark is far away from Netherlands here. Okay. And France is also here. In between comes Belgium. And there is this small and very costly and prosperous country called Luxembourg, which is situated between France, Germany and Belgium. But our focus is Netherlands. Capital is Amsterdam. Highest point is Walserberg, only 322 meters in height. That means it's basically a flat plain. This Europe is basically a flat plain. Okay. Alps are here. Switzerland, Austria, South Germany and France. But mostly these are plains. Major rivers are Rhine, which passes through Germany also. Maas and Scheldt. Population is close to 1.8 crore. See, it's so low, but in terms of Europe, it's one of the highest because Netherlands is also very small. And it's a very attractive site, Amsterdam especially, it's called the Sin City, for many people who wish to migrate. Okay. And it has a strong information technology sector, the booking.com. Now quick updates. Let's start with Green Hydrogen Certification Portal. This portal will make sure that companies which are saying or claiming that we are manufacturing green hydrogen, it will verify and give them labels. When it comes to any, economy related to environment or environmental economy, many manufacturers, they try to fool consumers by putting wrong labels. They think it's environmental friendly or the process was environmental friendly. So to check that, to make sure it was actually environmental friendly, the green hydrogen, this portal is there. It will set the standards and check. Because most of the hydrogen produced in India is grey hydrogen currently. And grey hydrogen production requires using fossil fuel. Green hydrogen is completely based on electrolysis. Okay. So also targets, so let's take a look at the mission green hydrogen or national green hydrogen mission, which targets 5 million metric tons of green hydrogen capacity building. Okay, and the project outlay was close to, you can say, close to 20,000 crore. It also targets production of green ammonia, because green ammonia is produced from green hydrogen. Ammonia requires two constituents. One is ammonia is NH3, okay, and it is produced from N2, that is nitrogen, and H2, and this is a reversible reaction. It's called Haber process. We have to use catalyst to make sure more and more ammonia is produced. The more nitrogen and hydrogen we put, we get more ammonia. So you can balance the equation to, I hope you know how to balance the chemical equation. It's class 6th chemistry. So 1 molecule of nitrogen and 3 molecules of hydrogen will give you 2 molecules of ammonia. So green hydrogen, so we can also produce green ammonia, because hydrogen is very difficult to store. So why not to use a small chunk of it to produce ammonia, which is used in the form of fertilizer. As per this new announcement, when this announcement was made, the concerned minister also said that 6 states have dedicated green hydrogen policy, others have to follow suit. Next, ozone pollution. There are 2 important news items related to pollution. One, the Delhi NCR region, and one related to the Himalayan region. This is ozone pollution, and ozone pollution mainly takes place during the summer season. So now you can apply logic. That means, what is so special in summer? High temperature and sunny climate. That triggers a free radical reaction in which volatile organic compounds and nitrogen oxides give rise to ozone. That means ozone is not a primary pollutant. It is produced because 2 different pollutants combine, but it is very harmful, equally dangerous, and it can cause long-term lungs problem. Okay, and this happens primarily in summer season. PM 2.5 and PM10, although their levels have been very high in the NCR region, they trouble us more during the winter season, and ozone troubles us during the summer season. I hope you understood. Harms lungs and respiratory health, formed through sunlight driven chemical reactions. Free radicals. There are no ions, no cations, no anions, free radicals. Just like this, okay. Free radical symbol इस तरह से होता है dot, and ozone के केस में it's O3. And at the same time, so tropospheric ozone is very harmful, but not stratospheric. In stratosphere, it's the same ozone which shields this planet from the harmful UV rays. ये हो गया stratospheric ozone. Troposphere में it is harmful for us. Same compound, same molecule of oxygen, but it roles varies depending upon the altitudes. Ground level में खतरनाक, लेकिन stratosphere में it's useful for us. She box 2.0 portal. क्वेश्चन क्या आ सकता है? Women safety at workplace. बॉक्स मतलब इमेजिन अ फिजिकल बॉक्स, लेटर बॉक्स, जहां पे आप लोग पहले ड्रॉप करते थे योर कंप्लेंट्स और योर अदर थिंग्स दैट यू वांट द अथॉरिटी टू टेक एक्शन ऑन. नाउ दिस इज पोर्टल. बॉक्स मतलब यहाँ पे देयर इज नो फिजिकल मेल बॉक्स, इट्स एन ऑनलाइन पोर्टल वेयर यू कैन लॉज अ कंप्लेंट इफ एनी women or woman faces harassment at the workplace. वो सीधा जाके इस पे कंप्लेंट कर सकती है, एंड शी कैन ट्रैक द कंप्लेंट ऑल्सो, व्हाट एक्शंस हैव बीन टेकन, एंड दिस इज अ पार्ट ऑफ मिशन शक्ति of the central government, which is an umbrella scheme which ensures safety, security and empowerment of women. ठीक है, she box. It covers both organized and unorganized sector, and it shows real implement of POSH Act, Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act 2013. Okay, based on Vishaka guidelines of 1997. All the names are there. Remember, memorize and use these points in your mains answer. Okay. Next, PM Awas Yojana 2.0 urban. Urban means this came for urban poor. PMAY urban. 2.1 lakh additional houses approved. So if a question is asked about urban planning and pressure on urban amenities and infrastructure due to growing urban population, migrating, people are migrating from rural India to urban areas. You can say what steps the government has taken. Okay. So apart from the transit oriented development system, you can mention also Awas Yojana, so that modern poor can be accommodated. Now there are two ways how the scheme is implemented. One is BLC, beneficiary led construction. That means if you have your own land, the government will give you financial assistance. This is called beneficiary led contribution. This AHP scheme means the government will actually provide affordable housing. It will make colony or big towers, and there you can get homes. Two different types, but aim is the same, to make housing easy to afford for urban poor. Covers beneficiaries across 16 states. Okay. So the most important point is nearly 2 lakh additional houses have been approved, and sanctions under PM AY Urban 2.0. There is a rural counterpart also. It has exceeded 16.13 lakhs. You need to know the difference between BLC and AHP. Very important. Two ways. Okay. Now QS World University Rankings. If now the education sector in India, it has been in the news for the wrong reasons. Okay. But if you want to show one positive side, that you can show that many of the IITs, they feature among the top Indian universities at the global level. IIT Delhi has secured rank 1 in India, but its global ranking is 118. So you can see still not a single university in top 100. Then IIT Bombay, rank 2. Its rank is I think 200 ke baad IIT Madras, Kharagpur and Kanpur. These are the top 5 universities from India. So QS ranking, IIT Delhi emerges as top ranked Indian institute. Now because UPSC is going absolutely factual, you don't know actually. It may say that last year IISc Bangalore secured. It is also one of the famous universities, research universities. But the correct answer is IIT Delhi. Next, Indian Ocean Rim Association. This was established in 1997 and has 23 members. Its primary aim is to make Indian Ocean safe, secure, and there should be economic cooperation also. Its role has even increased in this Middle East crisis. Why? But Indian Ocean countries are not very powerful countries. They cannot counter the West collectively also, but its importance and presence is very much required. Somebody should be there to serve as a watchdog of the entire region, and India is a very important member, and this time India chaired the 28th meeting. So why its importance has grown in today's era? Middle East crisis, Strait of Hormuz. Strait of Hormuz is actually basically part of Arabian Sea, which is a part of the Indian Ocean. Okay, Malacca Strait or Strait of Malacca, and its headquarters is in Mauritius, Ibn. Remember, not in New Delhi, India or Colombo, Sri Lanka. It's in Mauritius. Very important. Next, supply disruptions of bitumen. Bitumen is a black tar-like substance. It's very similar to tar, but tar is produced from coal by burning coal and making it liquid in nature. Bitumen is produced from petroleum, and petroleum banta kisse? Living organisms like animals. Coal is plant-based. So bitumen is mostly your animal-based petroleum derived product, which is very important for the manufacturing of construction of roads, not manufacturing, construction of roads and highways. Now there is a shortage because of the ongoing conflict in West Asia, and many projects may be halted if you don't have enough bitumen. The road construction will come to a standstill. Okay. Tar, though looks similar to bitumen, is derived from coal. Bitumen is derived from petroleum. Remember the differentiating factor. The last quick update is about non-methane hydrocarbon pollution in the Himalayas. Non-methane means those pollutants which are still hydrocarbons. They have carbon and hydrogen, but they're non-methane. That means they're not methane. They can be ethane C2H6 or propane C3H8 or benzene C6H6 or toluene, okay, which is basically I think benzene ring with OH. These are very harmful, and these are being produced by the presence of industries and other anthropogenic factors. Although there is no methane emission, but these emissions are equally harmful for the sensitive Himalayan ecosystem. Okay, so transport and human activities. Now you must have seen there was such a huge traffic jam uh, in that one of the higher Himalayan regions. People are frequenting hill stations, and there's so many vehicles. The jam was, I think, for many kilometers, say 50 to 60 kilometers. Okay, so it's a clear sign or indication of growing pollution in the sensitive Himalayan ecosystem. That's all for today. Wish you all the very best. Try to make the most of Vision Eye's digital current affairs. And now 6 questions will appear on your screen. Do take them. Wish you all the very best.